Now, I just wanted to share with you that recently somebody I know has had a little bit of an issue with her friends kind of dragging her into doing the same sort of thing. Now, her friends have got a different lifestyle and different things going on in their lives. And so they need a release and they need a way of letting go and the sociably accepted way for them to let go is go out on a bit of a bender, to get drunk and pissed up. That's kind of their way of letting go. But the person I'm thinking about, my relative, doesn't have that same kind of high stress lifestyle where they're, you know, in an environment where they can't let go or do what they want without tons of responsibilities. And despite me trying to talk to this relative and express the idea of crabs in a bucket, it never really sort of sunk in. And I thought, well, maybe I could express it to you, and then maybe it could help somebody else. But the story goes of crabs in a bucket. Then if you have one crab in a bucket, it'll escape. It'll somehow be able to climb out, should it be able to. I mean, obviously, if it's a massive, great bucket and it's all on its own and it's plastic, I don't know. But it's just an analogy for some people in life. But if you have two crabs in a bucket, they say that they would never escape, or more than two crabs, because they pull each other back down because they don't want to be left alone in the bottom of the bucket. Now, we see that quite often in our own lives, and whether it's like when you leave school and maybe some of your friends go on to university and some of your friends don't. Some of your friends maybe go in the army. Maybe some of your friends just get a local job at a local small business. And then, a few years later, maybe somebody's doing quite well and somebody else is making progress in their life and doing stuff. And then it seems like some people, not always, but sometimes, some individuals are stuck with that same kind of small town attitude or that small town mentality where they live and grow and stay forever in the same town, which is fine. I have no qualms about anybody staying in their own town. But often it comes with a mentality of where individuals aren't able to go outside their comfort zone and grow a little bit. And so you end up with this idea that when these people get back together or when you're around these friends or these acquaintances, some of them get quite upset and quite irritated and really try to pull you back down and offer you and try and convince you to do some of the things you used to do when you were younger and less grown up and had less responsibilities and had less focus and direction. Now, it doesn't matter what these vices are, but you've moved on from them. You've moved on and grown past these vices. And yet these other people are still relying on these vices as their way of self-medicating for their I don't want to say sad lives, for their sadness within their lives, their trauma maybe. And they don't seem to be able to move past barriers. Often it's a good idea to keep some of your achievements to yourself because it upsets those that were around you or those that are not moved forward. And I find that the best way to do that is to kind of let your actions speak for itself. You might dress differently, you might speak differently, you might have a broader knowledge of education of, I don't know, your subject, your industry, or even of the world. But generally, people aren't interested in your great achievements because it makes them feel bad, or they think that you're showing off, which again makes them feel bad because they haven't moved or grown or gone outside their comfort zone. Now, I know a couple of cases in my own personal life where this has been the case, and it's really upsetting and really sad. So, like I said, I let my actions speak for myself. I kind of keep some of my triumphs to myself a little bit. But the main thing is that inner peace you get from growing a little by little and challenging yourself, getting outside your comfort zone. And slowly but surely, the crabs in a bucket will be less influential on your life. And you might find you move away from these people. You might find that you see them less and less because they're not bringing something happy and positive or I don't know, a way of making you grow or challenging yourself. All right, these people don't bring that, and that can be very sad that they're stuck in that area. Now, sometimes you can get through to one of these individuals and help them move forward. Not always, but sometimes you can try, and sometimes, maybe you can help elevate somebody and you can feel like you've grown together and you get a stronger bond and friendship when this happens. But it's not always the case. So this is really about finding your inner peace and minimizing those old vices that you've moved forward and moved away from, and continuing challenging yourself and pushing yourself outside your comfort zone. When I say outside your comfort zone, you should only do a little bit outside your comfort zone, not so much as to make yourself fail. So all in all, those crabs in the bucket you will naturally find yourself pulling away from, and this will help your inner peace. This will help your mentality and your growth. And it's not an easy thing to do, because we also try and say that to our children. Say, oh, all right, well, I know they're your friends and they've upset you, but you'll be friends again later. Or stay away from those children, that kind of thing. So it's not easy to say and it's not easy to do. But it's something that you realize as you overcome more and more obstacles, that it's something you realize you have to do. You have to pull off the Band-Aid, the plaster, for longevity and for your own mental health and your own spirituality, to be able to get that I don't know, a higher level of education, that higher level of growth, whatever you want to call it. But all in all, you have to identify these people that do not want to grow and want to bring you back down and drag you back down. And they might think they're trying to knock you down a peg or two. They might think that you're arrogant or you're just different and not normal. That's fine. That's their perspective. That's their opinion. That's okay. But it's about identifying those people. And then on the flip side to that, you will find yourself more drawn and gravitated towards those that are positive, happy, energetic, and possibly those that will challenge you with your own beliefs, your own ideas. Say, hang on a minute, what about this? And then you go, ooh, that's interesting. Hang on, I need to think about that. People that challenge you mentally, spiritually, and in regards to religion or whatever else, those are the people that you want to gravitate towards. Those are interesting people. Those are people with ideas and knowledge and experience that you don't have. Even if you're twins and you do everything exactly the same and you do all the challenges just the same, you and your twin will still have different experiences because you have a different perspective. Even identical twins will still have a different perspective, depending on how they were feeling, what other experiences they've had. It's very subjective. I'll leave it at that, subjective. So, gravitate towards the positive people and allow the relationships to die out with the crabs in the bucket. That's something that you'll find that more high value and more evolved people tend to do, that they tend to gravitate towards what makes them happy and excited and passionate. All right. It's not an easy thing to do, not easy thing to say or discuss, but you'll find that you do that if you can be positive and happy. you'll gravitate towards these amazing people. All right, that's it for now. Thank you very much. See you in the next video. Bye-bye. You're still here. You've not gone? You must like me. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for sticking around. Okay, so talking about crabs in a bucket, it also makes for good green flags to look for in relationships, whether it's with a person of the opposite gender, the same gender, or just a friendship. Looking for those green flags are kind of like those magnets that we're just drawn to. And it's very difficult sometimes to see this when you're in the world of excitement and wanting to be with a passionate friend or somebody that's a bit more than that, trying to really see those green flags or red flags can sometimes just get washed away, and you're rolled away with the passion, excitement, with maybe a holiday romance and things like that. So what I'm saying basically is it's good to sometimes police yourself, step back and reflect upon the interactions you've had with this other person and your own behavior with this other person. Are you accepting bad behavior? Are you letting it slide because sex is great? I mean, that's been the case with me in the past. I've let things slide and not really called out the other person on particular behaviors because, being a man, I've just enjoyed having great sex. And I don't know, it's great at the time and it's easy to say, but the reality is sometimes you feel like you just need connection and closeness with somebody, and you kind of know that it's not going to last forever because of these red flags that you or lack of green flags that you know in the back of your mind. But yeah, I've had a few relationships in the past that have kind of fallen into accidentally. You know, one thing is you start off with a little bit of connection, a little bit of fun, and then it rolls into something a bit more serious, and then it's really, really hard to think, well, actually, this person might not be right for me. Maybe you don't even ask those questions at all, but I sure as hell will next time. I mean, I'm not saying I'm jaded or angry or anything like that. I mean, my previous relationships have all taught me many good things, and I'm on, speaking terms with half of my exes. So that's kind of a barometer, if you can leave on a good terms with an ex, then that's a positive thing. But it's very good to police yourself sometimes and think about whether somebody is positive or negative in the balance of the scheme, in that grand scheme of things, and in general. Is their glass half empty or half full? Maybe ask them one day, just out of the blue. Oh, would you say your glass is half empty of water or half full? And 9 times out of 10, their natural, normal attitude will be to say the truth. That's what I've found anyway. Anyway, so it's just some food for thought. That's all. Yeah, not a lot else has changed. I don't know. Have you got any questions, any thoughts? Put them down in the comments. All right. I got to say thank you. If you come this far, I really appreciate you. And I don't want to push my luck, but you can always buy me a coffee.com. Tribal Man Club. Buy me a coffee.com/Tribal Man Club. I don't know, something like that. There's a link in the description. All right. Hope you guys stay safe, stay well. Any other thoughts or questions, just put them down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.